Well, maybe there are higher wages on the way for some workers after more good news on the economy. New figures show manufacturing is roaring ahead. Companies here in the East Midlands say they're expecting to create thousands of jobs in the next few years as orders pick up at home and abroad. Here's Rob Pittham.
60 years in business, and Pressac in Nottingham has seen good times and bad. Now, though, things are on the up. The firm makes connectors and cables for high-speed broadband. BT is one of its biggest customers. But it's also moving into new markets, investing in machinery and taking on staff to win a slice of the buildings management business, helping firms to cut down on their energy consumption.
Business is going really well at the moment. The order book is very healthy. We're seeing a lot of new opportunities, and the great thing is that these opportunities are in new markets for us.
And this firm's not the only one doing well. According to the Manufacturing Advisory Service, here in the East Midlands, 68% of companies are predicting a rise in sales from across the UK. 36% of them are planning to sell more abroad too, and that's having a knock-on effect for company performance. More than 84% are predicting a rise in their turnover. And that's good news for jobs too, because more than half of them, 57%, will be taking on more staff in the next 2 years. It means a more secure future for the workforce and promotion too. Isabella Kalik came to Nottingham from Poland. And what's it like, you know, coming from Poland and working on a factory in an industrial estate in Nottingham? What's that like?
It's very challenging, but on the end, it's very worth it. And I would recommend to everyone to join the Pressac, and it's a really nice place to work.
I think it offers a lot of opportunity. It offers a lot of interesting things to look at. I think it can be as technical as you want it to be. It can be as in depth as you want it to be, and there's always the opportunity here to look more into things. If you want to get into the depth of things, you can do that, because we are tackling lots and lots of new things now, which is great. Because you can tend to stagnate, but we're not. Moving into lots and lots of different markets, which is fantastic stuff, really.
But there are problems too. Growing companies are increasingly reporting difficulties in recruiting people with the right skills.
We're actually finding it quite difficult to recruit because there's a limited number of skilled people out there, it would seem. So that is a big challenge for us, meeting our skill base.
And for politicians, there's going to be 2 politicians watching this. What would you say to them? What can they do to help you as a company?
I would say that we need help to find the skilled personnel, and that it's important to keep investing in people's skills and also technology.
It's a worry that's being repeated by manufacturers across the region, but this firm is still managing to grow, and as it prepares to export to Japan and the US for the first time, it's finding new markets opening up at home and abroad.
Well, we're joined now by David Caddell from the Manufacturing Advisory Service, which compiled that report. David, a rosy picture of growth being painted there. Is it going to lead to new jobs?
We hope so. For example, Pressac there, who have diversified into other markets, when that continues, there is a need to create more jobs. And we're seeing from our quarterly survey, a barometer that tests the appetite of manufacturers, their confidence of the marketplace going forward. And they're saying 23% more in this time last year are looking to recruit. For example, another local manufacturer in Loughborough, Addy Steels, has just won a £50 million contract to provide structures for electrification in the Great Western Railway. Off the back of that, they're looking to recruit another 20. So that market penetration, and in Pressac's example, that diversification is where the jobs are being created.
OK, well, we were talking about wage rises too. When will workers in manufacturing feel those rises?
Yeah, it's a bit of a chicken and egg. Because of the recession, and manufacturers have been through many recessions, and they weather them better, so they batten down the hatches, use that time to develop the processes and the people. But unfortunately, we've had to peg wages during that period to be competitive with offshore competition.
I mean, the Bank of England says it might be the back end of next year before we start to see those wage rises come through.
Anecdotally, we are hearing, certainly in the automotive sector, because of the big investment in the West Midlands with the supply chain that cascades through into the East Midlands, we're hearing that because of the pressures for staff, wage rises are increasing.
OK. Well, Toby, you're the Shadow Minister for Small Businesses. You've got to give some credit to the government for engineering this recovery, really, haven't you?
Well, I think in so much as there is one, and we saw there the story about Pressac, that looks really exciting plans for them. Where there are businesses doing well, of course we're delighted with that. But I think it's a mixed picture. Some industries doing really strongly. Business to business sales seem to be responding much more strongly than businesses that are relying on consumer sales, because people are really struggling in terms of the money in their pockets. We're seeing the deficit stubbornly refusing to come down, because at the same time that there's less people unemployed, there's lots of people working short hours. So I think it's a very mixed picture across the economy. I think we remain of the view that we should have seen the recovery built in before we saw the cuts. But where there's good news, like we heard at Pressac, then of course we're celebrating.
Yeah, sure. Yvonne, how's this recovery taken longer than it ought to have done, really?
Well, I think what we've got to do is focus on the positive, and the positive is that it's happening and we are getting more jobs to the region.
But haven't your government's austerity measures hampered growth, really?
I don't think so. We've seen growth in the East Midlands. That's really good. We've seen more smaller businesses come online, and again we've seen the bigger manufacturing businesses grow and grow. But we've also seen new university technical colleges coming online. We've got one coming online next year in Derby, which again is going to be looking at scaling up the
fact, though, is there, that this has been the slowest recovery ever?
Well, it's going to be a recovery, though. We've got that long-term economic
You're sticking to your positive view there. OK, well, David, the people at Pressac in our film were also saying that there's a real skills shortage and they want more done in schools, really, to teach children the right skills. What should the government be doing on this?
I think actively encouraging those STEM subjects, those science, technical engineering, maths, in creating an environment, a landscape that helps shape those children into the further education. And the UTCs is a great example of that vocational theme from kids about 16, 17 who may not be ready for going through first degrees but have got that STEM base and they can be developed into manufacturing subjects.
But it is a real worry, because it's not just Pressac who are telling us. Lots of firms we've spoken to are saying that they're struggling to get the right people. That could choke recovery, really, Yvonne, couldn't it?
It could. I think what we've got to do is we've got to work with the schools and with the local businesses to find out what that skill shortage is, and then to get those businesses into the schools, to encourage young people to actually look at that as a career path. And that can be done in a number of ways, but actually working with young people as young as primary ages to get them really enthused about sciences, about technology. We've got to get them at an early age.
Skills shortage a worry, Toby?
Oh, certainly it is. I think that in terms of the engineering jobs, one of the real problems we've had over the years is people, whenever they've seen manufacturing and engineering on the telly, it's when there's the guys at the factory gate driving out because the factory's being shut. And we do need to get a positive message out there about manufacturing. We also need to protect our industrial base. We almost had AstraZeneca, one of our greatest companies, taken over by Pfizer to be asset stripped. So I think we need a government that absolutely speaks up for skills, and we're wanting all apprenticeships to be level 3 apprenticeships.
We're talking about getting the right people.
We also need to look after our base, don't we?
Yes, of course, and we're talking about getting the right people too. We saw Isabella from Poland in our film there. She actually has got a degree in physics, so talking about getting the right people for the right jobs. It's a sign that manufacturers need immigration, though, isn't it, to find the right people? Is it right that both of your parties want tougher rules on it?
I think we do need tough rules on it, but I think we've also got to be open very much to students coming in and also to skilled workforce. We need to recognise you need a balanced system. We want to have a system where we count everyone in and count them out. It's shameful that isn't happening, but we also want a system that actually makes sure that we're not flooding the workplace so that it's having this sort of effect of really damping down wages, which we have seen in some areas too.
David, what's your prediction for jobs growth in manufacturing then, looking ahead?
It will continue to grow with the continued investment in the automotive, and there's also a trend of reshoring, where manufacturers in the past, in the early 80s, offshored for low cost. Now with those areas where they subcontracted to, their economy is increasing, it's not so attractive. Coupled with energy costs to move product around, we're seeing a trend. And this time last year when we surveyed, 16% of companies had either reshored, brought that production back, or were thinking about it. So that will continue to drive up production and jobs
David,
creation.
thanks very much indeed.